Hello everybody! In today's video, I'm gonna walk you through the basics of the 4-fold and 8-fold geometry. First, I will show you how to divide the circle in 4 equal parts and then how to divide it in 8 equal parts. Next, I'm gonna use the division marks on the circle to add in 2 types of 8-folded stars. The first type is drawn by skipping 1 division mark, and this will basically create 2 squares, a static one and a dynamic one. And these 2 squares overlapping each other are going to create the 8-folded star. The second type of 8-folded star is drawn by skipping 2 division marks. Then, in the second part of the video, I'm going to take this unit and tessellate it. Then, I'm going to add some color to bring the pattern to life and make it stand out. In terms of materials, please have a look in the description of this episode where I made a list with the items you will need. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to see more step-by-step tutorials like this one, consider sponsoring this podcast at the Buy Me a Coffee link found in bio and description of this episode. For any feedback or questions you might have, drop me a comment. If you'd like to share your progress and work with me, tag me on Instagram at dreamerinthemaze. Send me a message on Instagram at dreamerinthemaze if you have any patterns that you saw, found puzzling, and you would like to see explained in an episode on this channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And now, let's start drawing. I shall be working on an A4 piece of paper, and I'm going to start by finding the center of the page. To do that, I'll use another A4 sheet of paper, which I'll fold in half once and in half one more time, and then I shall align it in the center, in a corner, and that will give me the center. I'll put a mark, then I'll add in the horizontal line. I'll make sure to pass through the center. And then I'm gonna draw a 3-inch radius circle, 3 inches or 8 centimeters. To add in the vertical line now, I'm gonna add first a few more marks, and I'm gonna position the compass at the intersection of the horizontal line with the circle. Then I'll add marks on both sides. Same thing on the other side, at the intersection of the horizontal line with the circle. I will add the marks on both sides. Next, from these new intersection points, I'm going to position my compass at the intersection point between the markup and the circle, and I'm going to draw a new mark here, roughly in line with the center of the page. Same thing on the other side. And now, by uniting these 2 points, I'll make sure I also pass through the center. Now I have the division by 4 of the circle, And I will position the compass at the intersection of the vertical line now with the circle. And I'm gonna draw 2 more marks. 2 more marks on one side, 2 more marks on the other side. Now I can add in the diagonal lines. Again, making sure I will go through the center. I will add the numbers now to make it easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'm gonna add in a star, an 8-folded star. And I'm gonna just skip one intersection. So from one intersection, one division of the circle, I will skip one and go to the third. By skipping one, I will basically be adding 2 squares inside the circle. I started from the top, and this gives me the dynamic square. And now, starting from the diagonal, I will get the static square. So now you can see that the dynamic square and the static square give us the 8-folded star. And also it gives us an octagon. Inside this octagon now I'm gonna add another type of star. But instead of using the original lines, I'm gonna use the intersections between 2 of the triangles here. So to make it easier, I will again mark it up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But this time, instead of skipping 1, I'm gonna skip 2. So if I start from 1, I'm going to skip 2, 3, and go to 4. Then I'm going to skip 2 again, 5, 6, and I'll go to 7. Skip 2 again, 8, 1, and I will go to 2. Skip 2 again, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, and back to 1. The stars are not very visible right now, so I'm gonna draw now with a thicker pen to make the stars stand up. I'll start from the diagonal up to the intersection, and from the intersection to the diagonal. And I'm going to do that on all sides, from the circle to the first intersection, and from the intersection to the circle. To draw the next star, it's lining up again how it was. So I'm gonna start from 1, go to 4, and then I'm gonna draw from 1 up to where it crosses to number 3. I'm gonna skip this little triangle here, and then I'm gonna keep drawing up until I reach point number 4. So just skipping this little triangle here. And I'm going to do this on all sides now. Here it might get a bit confusing if you're drawing it like upside down, but still you can see the 2 points for the triangle here and here. now we can see both stars. And to tessellate this pattern here, I'm gonna put it in one unit, and the unit will be from the intersection of the initial marks that gave us the points for the diagonals. I'm gonna go from intersection to intersection, and also notice it's tangent to the circle here. There it is, the square with an 8-folded star inside, and another type of 8-folded star inside it, which naturally creates the first square, double square, 8-folded star. Now I will show you how to tessellate the pattern. And now I'm going to be working on an A3 sized paper. I'm going to start by finding the center, and again I'm going to take an A4 or an A3 actually, it was originally, and then I'm going to fold in half and fold in half again and align it in the corner and put a mark where the center is. Next, I'm going to draw the horizontal line on the shortest edge of the paper, because then it's going to be easier to add in the vertical line. I'm going to open up the compass to draw a circle that fits the page. Next, to add in the vertical, first I'm going to position the compass at the intersection of the line with the circle and draw marks on both sides. I'm gonna do the same at the other intersection of the line with the circle. And then I'll position the compass where these new intersections, new lines we drawn, intersect with the circle. And now, because it exits the page, ideally, if you have another compass, just use another compass, or make the radius in the original, or make the original radius shorter. Position it at the intersection of the markup with the circle and add in the marks. It will still give us the bisecting point. Now to add in the vertical, making sure it hits the center. Now, using the vertical line, we need first, if you had to switch the radius in the compass, now go back to the center of the circle and make sure you adjust to the original radius. Now, with the original radius, we come at the intersection of the vertical line with the circle, and we add in the 2 marks. Now, using these new intersection points, I can add in the diagonal lines. I make sure I go through the center. And now I can add in the square from the intersection points of the diagonals with the center, with the circle. I always go from the intersection of the diagonal with the circle from the next intersection of the diagonal with the circle. Now I have created a 2 by 2 square grid, but I want to go even further and divide even more to get a smaller grid. So I'm going to add in now diagonals in the small squares. And now, using the intersection of the diagonals, I'm going to add in vertical and horizontal lines, thus creating more squares in the grid. And now I need the centers of these small squares here. So I'm gonna add in more diagonals for that. Notice you should get through these points as well when you align for this diagonal. And if you're not getting exactly through the points, that's okay. Just try to find the position of a line that lines up best with most of them. All right, now in each square we're gonna be adding a circle, and the radius of the circle shall be the distance from the center of the square to the edge. To find that radius, I'm gonna add in another horizontal line. And then I'll position the compass point in the center of the square and adjust the radius. It's good to make sure it hits all four sides before drawing in the circle. And now ideally all the circles shall be tangent. If you notice it doesn't really line up somewhere, you can slightly adjust the position of the compass point and find a better center if the accuracy of the drawing is not good. You can still bypass that. In each of these circles, we are then going to be adding a star. All right, now you notice in each of the circles we have the division by 4, but to add in the stars we'll need the division by 8, and to get that we'll just add in more horizontal and vertical lines by going through all the centers of the circles. Now I have the divisions of all the circles, and I can start adding in the stars. I'm going to line up from the diagonal, from the intersection point of the diagonal with a small circle up until the last intersection of the diagonal with a small circle. And ideally it should hit through all the points. And now I'm going to add lines only inside the circles. I'm basically adding in the squares now. One square, one little square inside every little circle. Now I have all the static squares, and now I need to add in the dynamic squares. So I'm going to, you see this little circle here, I'm going to add a diagonal from the intersection of the vertical and horizontal line with the circle. Here you can see two of the diagonals line up, but I will only draw it inside the circle. Oh, actually, no. We have circle here, so diagonally we can go all the way through. Always check your parallel with another diagonal to make sure you've positioned the line through the correct points. Here already you can see the star. And now we're going to make the lines thicker so we can actually see the tessellation of the stars. So I'm going to line up the ruler and then I'm going to mark up inside the circle, from the circle up until the intersection of the diagonal line. And then I'm going to go all the way through and do that inside all of the circles. From circle to diagonal and from diagonal to circle. now and now for the dynamic squares. We go from the circle up until the intersection with the first square. So square and circle. Circle, square, from the square here through the circle, and then again circle, and then the square, the square, the circle again, and the square and circle. Basically from mark to mark. Okay, and now you can see the 8 folded stars and the crosses between them.